Jazz and Beyond on 702 and Cape Talk. It is Nothemba with you. And this is where we come for the jazz and then we stay for a good time. And the good time today is the fact that we have a special guest. He's a British-Nigerian jazz, soul, world music singer. And of course, he's known for his emotive voice. He's absolutely expressive songwriting, and he has a global career which spans over 2 decades. And I'm talking about Ola Onabule. And a very warm welcome to you on Jazz and Beyond.
Thank you very, very much for having me on the show.
Pleasure to have you. What, you're in South Africa, you live in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here?
I'm here because you have this illustrious, august occasion of the UNISA International Jazz Vocal Contest, which happens at the moment. I think it's every 8-year cycle. I think they're going to try to shorten that.
Yeah,
that's why I'm here. I'm one of the judges for the jazz contest.
Oh my goodness! So, what do you judge as a singer-songwriter? Are you?
Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm just judging the young singers for their, everything it takes to stand on a stage and express music in the idiom of jazz. So there's no songwriting element of it at the moment, but definitely the singer part of it is very strong.
So how did they get to ask you? And what were your thoughts when that came about?
It's the strangest thing in the world. I've talked forever about one day I'm going to get to South Africa. One day I'm going to get to South Africa. I didn't think it would happen now, and I didn't think it would happen in this way. So a complete surprise. We just got the call in December, and they said, "Yeah, we'd love for you to come and judge." There are very few African male jazz singers, apparently. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Actually, it's a yes and a no.
Okay.
The singers, as in vocalists, may be few, but the singers, as in instrumentally.
Yeah, exactly.
And those groans and moans are part of vocals.
Part of vocalizations. You're absolutely right,
Yeah. But that's fantastic, though. And look, at the end of the day, they definitely asked you because you've been in the business for so long. You have traveled the world and performed at various jazz festivals. You've released, almost 10 albums or something already? And with different styles at times, So how do you describe yourself in terms of your approach to music? What's Ola's music? When I say, have you heard about Ola? And when they ask what does he sing, what should I say?
I think I would, if I were responsible for describing myself only, if only descriptions of myself went out into the world, then I would say that I was a songwriter. That's what I'd like to think, and that's because I want to tell stories. There are some very stories that are very important to me, and I want to share with the world. There are lots of kind of philosophical, human things I want to describe. It just so happens that the 2 genres that help me, or the 3 genres that help me best describe those emotions are soul, the music of Africa, the feeling, the sense of Africa. That's why they call it world. But really, I'm channeling the rhythms that I heard growing up in Nigeria. And then the thing that allows me to do that expressing freely is the jazz element. That's the bit that allows me to improvise and to have conversations on stage with musicians and with, whatever comes up in the moment. So a singer-songwriter who uses both soul, African rhythms and jazz to express.
I like how you describe the fact that jazz allows you, that freedom to improvise and tell the stories with the other musicians. Can you for someone who doesn't understand jazz as a concept or a philosophy or a way of being, just quickly elaborate what that means, as how different it is. For instance, if you're doing a classical or a pop or any other style of music, the difference of that freedom, which I think it's so crucial and important for people to understand, because even as a listener, I need to understand that and not compare jazz with what a pop soul or a pop song or an Afrobeat would do.
Yes, of course. I would say jazz is conversation. It's conversation between two people who are speaking a language, and the language is music. And I talk, you listen, I absorb what you said emotionally, and I respond as honestly as I can.
Sure.
Sometimes that honesty means that I respond with humor. Sometimes I respond with cynicism or sarcasm. Sometimes I respond with anger because of the emotions that are welled up by the thing you said with your instrument. But I'm responding honestly, and if I'm truly responding honestly, I'm responding in the moment.
The moment, which is so crucial, because that is why and thanks for the CDs, by the way.
Oh, you're most welcome.
I must declare these.
It's the very least.
Which also means that, what I may hear here, when I see you perform, you're going to perform with what happens with that song at that moment on stage. It may not be a replica.
It will never be.
It will never be.
It will never be a replica.
Which is what I love about this music. So, Ola, let's talk about you live in the UK, but you were born there, but
I grew up in Nigeria.
But you grew up in Nigeria up to
about 17.
17 years.
So I was there for 10 years.
Yeah. So the Nigerian experience and life there, how has that also influenced your music? Do you find are there any Afrobeats that we're gonna find? Has that part influenced you? Before we get into why jazz for you, when you grew up?
Yeah, I heard a form of music that is a precursor to Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the Fela Kuti format of Afrobeat, which is a very interesting circle because it kind of borrows from America, fuses with the African rhythms that he would have heard, and creates this new genre. So that was huge. That was the pop music of the late 70s, early 80s when I was a teenager. But then, because I spent a lot of time with old folk, my grandparents, they played a form of West African music that was steeped in the century prior, called Sakara or Fuji.
Yes.
And they were almost non-melodic. They were all polyrhythmic, lots of complex rhythms that, to my mind, having just arrived from the UK, that was full of a certain kind of pop music, very melodic, Beatles, type pop music. It was so different and so fascinating to me. And without realizing it, I absorbed it fully. Now it comes out in my music. I'm often in discussion because you work with the musicians you're surrounded with. So I'm often surrounded by British musicians or European musicians who find these rhythms very complex and very difficult to understand. Can't even understand.
Understandably.
Yes, and can't understand even how I'm dancing to it. They say, but it's in 7/8. Who dances in 7/8? And I'm thinking, but I'm not counting. I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
So it was very much a part of my subconscious. And it wasn't until I realized I was a songwriter that I realized that I absorbed these rhythms, and that was the only way for me to express musically.
It's back in 1985 when your first album came out, which is More Soul Than Sense. You've had From Meaning, Beyond Definition album. You've had Precious Libations for Silent Gods. Gosh, your titles. Ambitions for Deeper Breath. Ola, what's going on? In Emergency, Break Silence. What kind of title is that? The Devoured Man. Oh, Lord. 7 Shades of Darker. It's the Peace That Deafens. Pointless Soul Encounter. Of course, with the SWR big band, Proof of Life, which I think is the one that is on the tip of a lot of people, that particular album. What is it about Proof of Life?
Proof of Life is the album that I wrote with a friend of mine, Nicholas Meyer, Swiss jazz guitarist. And we've done a whole series of live streams through COVID. Just to kind of keep ourselves thinking and feeling and connecting with human beings in that time of, profound isolation. Everyone was supposed to be alone. We'd get together, myself and him and 4 other musicians, and we'd play music. And so all the songs that we came up with, we realized we were writing about the fact that we were asserting the fact that we're human, that we're not these weird entities that we were forced to be during COVID, during isolation, during lockdown, that we love, that we fear, that we, and of course, in the middle of all of that, George Floyd happened, so
in the U.S.
In the U.S., so there were lots of kind of deep, philosophical things to consider about the fact that on the one hand, we're all being kept separate, but when we get together, something as tragic as that happens. So that's essentially where the title "Proof of Life" came from.
In fact, with a lot of musicians that I've had conversations with, that period of the lockdown during COVID really provided a moment of introspection, and also redirection for a lot of musicians. Where they were asking themselves, why am I here? Why am I doing what I do, kind of thing?
Yes.
And am I going in the right direction?
Yes.
So did that happen for you as well? Did it maybe even change your perspective of yourself and what you thought you wanted in life, and thought differently? And even how then you wanted to express yourself creatively?
It's a great question. I've never thought about it before. Isn't that strange? But I realized that there was a dramatic change in direction.
Yeah.
I say no more now. Happily, easily, comfortably. If I don't like what's going on.
Some boundaries came up.
Yes, boundaries came in. I don't entertain anything that I think is even vaguely mediocre. If it's not the thing, it's not happening. I'm not doing it. I'm not writing it. I'm not collaborating on it. I'm not, allowing it to live in my person. And that definitely is since COVID.
Wow.
I think maybe it was a part of who I was before, but I wasn't fully embracing it. I was, bending rules here and there. But now I feel like life is short. And,
You have your own label, and I think that's worked well for you, in the sense that you have control. You write your own songs, you mix and think. Does that mean there's all these different checks that keep coming in, going, clink, 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 the bank notifications?
Well, unfortunately, in the music business, today's pay is tomorrow's expense.
Yeah,
you just take it from the left hand and pass it to the right and pass it out the next door. But success for me in the music business is the fact that I'm still here. Because it's such a precarious way to make a living, to write something in the privacy of your room that no one's heard, in the hope that you're then going to present this very personal thing to a universal audience, and suddenly your personal thing is going to be universally accepted, or at least accepted enough for you to then do another one. And also pay for getting on the road and traveling around the world, so it's a crazy existence. And to still be doing it I've come to realize is the true measure of success.
Of success, yes. And not what the bank notifications indicate. You have, as much as this is the first time in South Africa for you, but this is not the first relationship you've had with this country.
No.
Because you have come across some of our best and most loved icons of jazz music. And I thought it was just Bongile Khumalo. And before we started this conversation, you told me, no, there's somebody else.
Yeah.
And of course, he was living in Britain there. So tell us the story.
Well, I got into music in a very strange way.
Yeah.
I was studying to be a lawyer. And
yes, and there's that.
And I got kind of drawn into music, so much so that I gave up law school and got into
in your third year.
My third year. Yeah.
Jesus, whoever was paying for that school fees is not happy.
Let's not go over it.
No, we're not going there. Yeah, we're moving on.
We're moving on. Exactly. And one of the luckiest parts of the whole thing is I got pulled into a group of musicians who were just remarkable. They were like superheroes.
Yeah.
And one of that group was Becky
Mseleko.
Who kind of took me under his wing, with all the guys I was hanging out with then, and they would just feed me music. They realized that, I'd missed out on the opportunity for a formal education in jazz,
in music,
like going to music school. So they would just go and listen to that, go and give that. I want to hear a little bit of that on our next gig, and I would do a range of gigs with them, and they would, they'd give me a hard time, but at the same time they were very kind and very, very generous with their knowledge. And, it took me until after I'd moved into a slightly different circle to realize how lucky I'd been that, I'd fallen out of the sky straight into the middle of these
amazing musicians,
talented people. And Becky was particularly important because one, he was very when he played, you could almost hear the machinery of his selectiveness.
Yeah.
What he chose to put his hands on the piano almost felt privileged for having been the chord that he chose.
I love the way you describe that.
You learned that, okay, especially as a young man at the time, you want to sing the entire story of your life in every song. And then here's this guy who's looking at the piano and going, I'm going to play that one. So I learned selectiveness. I learned how to be minimalist, and to make choices, even as when we were talking earlier on about conversation, I learned that the conversation in jazz can be sophisticated. It's not just
absolutely, and it has all these different layers, different. It can be loud, it can be soft, it can be, it can scream if it wants to, but the conversation, and especially even the conversation with yourself within the song, kind of thing. Yeah. Do you play an instrument?
I love to say I play every
Don't look at Maria.
because she's heard me tell this joke before. I play every instrument, but really, really badly. It's terrible what I do with instrumentation, but it's enough for me to just get an idea down, and then as quickly as I possibly can hand over to the exceptional musicians.
Also, I guess it helps with you then especially when you are doing your composing or recording, the conversation then you have with the other musicians in terms of what your idea is. It helps in that way. Yes. Let's talk about your encounter with Sibongile Khumalo.
Ridiculous. I got called by one of the premier kind of, I suppose, arts associations, I don't know what to call them, called Sirius in the UK.
Yeah.
And they book jazz tours across the country and sometimes across Europe.
Mm.
And they said they had this project called Soul Noel, where we were going to take Christmas songs and completely reinterpret them. We're going to dismantle them and we're going to put them back together as perceived through the eyes of African voices.
Wow.
You know, one male...
Come nearer the mic, yeah.
One male voice,
yeah,
that was going to be me, and one female voice, Sibongile Khumalo. I thought, what?
Had you heard of her then?
I'd heard of her in the way that you hear of, I don't know, Diane Reeve,
okay. Beautiful,
you
beautiful,
know,
yeah.
You think they exist
in another universe,
in another plane. You know, she's in South Africa being epic, and that's where that happens. But here we are on tour together, you know, and I get to hear her do that thing night after night for 10 dates, I think it was. We did around the UK.
The UK.
Yeah, and it was everything you can...
What was being around her and even musically, what did that leave you with about her?
Quite specifically, and I think this maybe is a factor of the fact that she came from a classical... She also had a classical element to what she did. There was a kind of control and sophistication to the way she used voice. Around the time that I came into music, in that era, there was a kind of, even though it was jazz, there was a kind of almost soulful, rocky thing that was happening in jazz, especially as it derives from America.
Yeah.
You know, and this completely new flavor comes in where it's elevated, is the word. You know, it felt kind of like, okay, this is a high art form. It's not just, you know, vibes and big emotions. It's elevated. It's considered.
And I think what you're talking about, what that you say that she left you with, I see it in your performances, in like videos I've watched. You've played with orchestras, and you know, in fact, this new album, you got these two brothers. That let's talk about that, because what I'm saying is the different formats and styles that arrange within your recordings show also that elevation, or I guess you, with each project, you position yourself with whatever's happening at that time, you know, and how you feel about, you know, your creativity at the time. Let's talk about this condition of the heart. What's it called? Oh, it's never over.
It's never over.
It's never over. What's never over?
The song is it's about war and peace. You know.
Oh, how apt.
Yeah.
For this time.
I know. It's actually an old song that it suddenly became very relevant and pertinent again, sadly. But, you know, it was a song, in a way, a song of hope.
Yeah.
That addresses the fact that, yes, you know, human beings are capable of the most incredible brutality and cruelty, but they're also incredibly capable of the most amazing beauty and kindness and generosity.
Yeah.
And so it's no one of those two things is ever over. It's just always in movement, and you have to kind of keep your heart open because bad things happen. You don't close yourself off.
Yeah.
And because good things happen, you don't assume that the next person is going to be good. You just kind of keep your heart open and try to figure out each situation.
Yeah. And then the Hazelrig brothers, who are they? And why are they?
They're a Philadelphia kind of brother duo, who have a unique style. It's very stripped down. They take everything out of the music. And once again, maybe carrying on in the tradition I discovered with Becky. It's about being very, very selective, very careful about what you play. Minimalists, say less, but by doing so, what you do say gains greater significance.
Sure.
And so for this particular project, which was almost entirely about peace and about war and I wanted the words to be heard. So they seemed like the right collaborators. They're incredibly brilliant human beings. They build their own studio gear from the ground up.
Okay.
They fly planes. They hold, highly intellectual discourses in universities and things like that. So they're great people to get really detail obsessed with in discussion about the music.
And just on that note, because as you say, they are not just into the music, they are into all sorts of other things, which I think sometimes is the default of a lot of people. They think once you're a singer, that's all there is to you. Once you're whatever, that's all there is to you.
Yeah.
When, as humans, we are, a sum of so many different parts.
Absolutely.
What are these other parts of Ola that we need to know? Because definitely when you are not in studio recording or practicing or performing, there's other things that you love, and probably your family, your wife and kids have become a significant part of that. How are they supportive of the you being away, touring and being away from home?
I'm incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
So I come from a family of artists. Everyone's a creative of some sort.
Lovely.
My children are all creatives. So we all kind of understand one another, and we really kind of make family time count. And the other things that I'm interested in is I do a lot of woodworking. I make furniture when I'm not writing songs.
Oh my word! Is it furniture that if I sit on that chair, I won't fall off, kind of thing?
Absolutely, you will not. So far, so good.
Oh, good.
No one's made an insurance claim on any of my furniture. And I draw. I spent a short amount of time.
Oh wow!
I used to paint. I haven't got time for it anymore. And write songs.
So
I'm not doing any of that.
That 3-year legal element of your life, I guess it comes in when you're looking at documents and contracts and things.
Yes.
It comes in handy.
It does, because I set up my label by myself,
and
all of that, all the aspects of making sure that I'm an independent artist who can, release his own stuff and sign my own contracts and be part of any negotiations that make my music accessible anywhere in the world. It's all legal. And my law school training really comes in handy.
Ola, when I look at the titles of just the albums, and then we look at the title of It's Never Over, a lot of the titles have to do with the human element and things that are going on. They are philosophical. They are. They make one think. For instance, I must say my favorite at the moment. It's the piece that that deafens. And then you have patience endures. You've got the voodoo. Oh, there comes the Nigerian element. Condition of a dark matter. Those kind of. So what headspace or what is it about our, our lives or just the world do you think about? What is happening in Ola's mind and view of I guess a whole lot of things are happening in their mind. But
maybe I write songs too late in the middle of the night when when the mood is not as light as it is in the day. You're sunk into yourself. You're thinking about it all. But I once again, growing up in that decade, that of the 70s, music wasn't light. People were making, before we moved into the disco era, people were talking about all the Stevie Wonder albums had great titles, but also great content. There was a lot of Bob Dylan. Nina Simone was, making powerful statements about the world. And so and also, growing up in Nigeria, music was functional. It was weddings, births, funerals, important moments in people's lives. It wasn't just pop music for, having a dance and a party.
Sure.
So there was always a story, a message, a philosophical discussion being had. And so when I came to songwriting, I just naturally assumed, that's my role in the world, is to say something meaningful.
Sure. And it comes out. It comes out in the music. Are you going to be performing while you're here?
Not on this trip, but
no.
I still hold on to my dream to sing a song in the land of many of my heroes. Abdullah Ibrahim for one.
Hello. Hello. Who else are your heroes? Who do you listen to?
It really is wide and varied, and the music that I listen to isn't constrained to jazz.
To jazz,
so they're all the jazz greats. From the pre-bebop era Satchmo all the way through to some of the younger, funkier, like Go-Go Penguin or even Michael Mayo.
Yes,
Jacob Collier. I'm checking everything out.
I know.
But I'll also listen to straight up pop music. I'll also listen to a lot of African music. I've been listening in the last week to lots of Bulgarian choirs because they do something very fascinating with voice.
Yeah.
I just love sound. Really.
And that's great because like I was saying earlier on, some people are very linear in how they think of someone, and even forget that yes, you may necessarily just play pop or jazz or soul or R&B or whatever, but you are exposed to all sorts of kind of music and stuff like that, and which there's nothing wrong with it. But do you though have a perspective or maybe of where jazz is going, especially in the UK? I love the UK jazz sound. There's also something a little different about it than with what comes out of Europe or even the US or even here, on the there's something that is the UK-ness of it. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe you can.
Well, for instance, my current favorite young UK jazz groups, Kokoroko and
they're
Ezra
fantastic.
Collective.
Yeah.
They're all children of ex-colony migrants.
Yes.
To the UK, who are taking a little bit of what already exists. So what the Jamaican, West Indian, Caribbean influence,
and then
the Englishness of just being in London with some of their parents' high life jazz records, from that they brought with them to the UK. Yeah. And then they mix that up with a little bit of bebop and create this new sound. It's magical.
It's really fantastic. But just the idea that jazz is getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
In terms of the audience and the musicians.
I didn't see that.
That for me is the cherry on top in terms of knowing that the generations that are coming are going to carry this thing.
It's so
thing forward. It is,
and they love it as well. I mean, if you see online, if you look on a lot of the kind of social media like TikTok, so many kids playing, famous solos, jazz solos that they've taken down, and it's a great time, really.
As we wrap it up, maybe we can talk about new directions you're looking at, or maybe just you think. I think we've discussed the broader role that jazz seems to be having, especially in the musical landscape, with the impact on the younger generation kind of thing. So, are you looking at with that in mind and more, your future projects? Are you thinking of going in any new direction, or any projects on outside of course, your latest album, which you just released last year, towards the end of last year?
Towards the end of last year. Yes. Well, there's a kind of old new project. My album Last But One, Pointless. We're working on trying to turn it into a jazz opera, because it's all the songs are about one event, so they tell a singular story. So that's always been the plan, and that's in motion. Hopefully, sometime either early next year or so, it will be ready for public consumption.
Fantastic.
And then I'm writing a new album, a new solo album. And I've got a series of orchestra dates, across Europe in the next through the spring in Germany and Romania. So that's kind of what's ahead.
Let's talk about, as we wrap, because there's one thing that sort of like it's there. It's very obvious, and it's sort of like the first thing you get an impression of is your image as the stylish, suited gentleman who's always well dressed and looking suave, and that, I don't know whether that also impacts on your stage presence and performance. And
Nothemba, my head is swelling.
Let it swell.
Thank you. I think maybe that has something to do with my dad. He was a stickler for appearance, and he just instilled that in me. And I have some to be honest, I can't take credit entirely for the way I look. I have some very smart ladies around me who make sure that I'm well turned out.
You got stylists?
No, not stylists. my daughter, my wife. I don't leave the house without asking their opinion.
They are your stylists. Give them the credit.
Okay, yes.
They are your stylists.
Yes, absolutely.
Lucky, but I like that, because it. You mentioned earlier that like Sibongile Khumalo, brought a sense of class and elevation to what she does, and I'm sure that does that for you too.
Oh, absolutely. It's like putting on your armor before you go out to battle. I feel like, yes, I'm prepared to give this audience an experience and show them a bit of appreciation for the fact that they've paid for tickets. They've set out sometimes on very long journeys to come and see the concerts,
and it also says, listen, I'm here. I'm serious.
Yes.
You're going to get your money's worth.
You're going to get your money's worth. Exactly.
Listen, Ola, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, the pleasure's entirely
mine.
And
listen, I hope you enjoy your stay in South Africa and you come back and perform this time.
I would love dearly to do so.
Have you listened to any other South African musicians' music, by the way?
A lot.
Yeah.
Over the years. The first South African music I listened to, the very first time I heard anything South African was a production company came to Nigeria in the early 70s called Ipitombi.
Okay, yes, they were fantastic.
And that was the first time I heard, harmony, from this part of the world.
Yes.
And realized that there was an obsession with voice and with harmony here. And it kind of focused the mind. But then I think maybe the next thing was maybe Hugh Masekela.
Yeah.
I think. And then I think the next thing after that was Abdullah Ibrahim, and I can't remember. And then I've just bought into, yes, Makatani's in there somewhere. I don't know where he fits in the order of things.
I have one favor to ask you before you go. Just sing one verse of something. Just one, a cappella something, or as they call it.
All right. It's never over. The war's so wild and bitter. We cling to one another in need of a friend. Sometimes it's clearer, though peace can last forever. It never will end.
Yo, as they say in South Africa. Yo. Wow, Ola.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And whoever hasn't heard your music or listened to you, now they are going to have to. Definitely.
Thank you.
Let them know where to find you and where to find your music.
Absolutely. On all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, everywhere. On YouTube, it's Ola Onabule. Just type Ola Onabule. And
Onabule.
And you're there. Oh, if you're Nigerian, Ola Onabule.
Onabule.
There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
On Jazz and Beyond on 702 and Cape Talk.
Come for the jazz and stay for the good times.
On Jazz and Beyond with Nothemba Madumo.
On 702 and Cape Talk.